The new Tomoe River paper just sucks. We all know it. We're having the bleed through issues, the feathering, the inconsistencies, even on the same page. I've had a couple of videos already talking about that, but today we're going to be talking about ways we can make this paper work for us, because it's not in everyone's budget to just go out and buy another planner. Maybe the system works for you, and so you're having a hard time transitioning. That's my case. Or you don't have the budget to go out and buy another planner. And that's just the reality of the situation. So today we're going to be going over some tips and tricks to make this paper work for us. That'll include pen recommendations, some different planning techniques and products that you can use to make this work for you. So let's go ahead and dive in, and we're going to start at the very beginning with pen recommendations. I know a lot of us really want to use our fountain pens in these planners. That is why we bought this paper. However, fountain pens are the pens I think that are giving me the most problems. And that's really disappointing to see, especially when you look back at, I actually have screen grabs of Hobonichi's webpage. Even though this is a common planner, I'm just using a planner for reference. But if you look back on Hobonichi's webpage a year ago, they actually had some pen recommendations as far as fountain pens. They have since removed that information for obvious reasons. So with that being said, I have done a little bit of testing, and here is what I've come to the conclusion of. If you want to use fountain pens on this paper, you need not a super fine point, because if you have something that's too fine, like actually my extra fines are having more problems than my fines. So I think a fine point needs to be a little bit softer. My Pilot vanishing point with my gold nib seems to work probably about the best right now. And I don't know if that's a product of the inks I put in it or the pen itself. So decide that on your own. But if you have a Pilot vanishing point, those seem to be working the best. I don't know if it's because of the softness of the nib with it being a gold nib. So you're getting a little bit more flexibility in that nib, so you're not having the scratchiness of a steel nib. So that's my first recommendation. Now I know that's not going to fit in everyone's budget, so I do have other things. The next thing we're going to talk about is ink. So as far as fountain pen ink goes, we need a drier, faster drying ink. And I kind of did a little bit of research to see what recommendations. I specifically looked for a black ink, knowing that that would be most universal. And the consistent feedback I was getting was actually for this bottle of ink, which is the Pelikan Brilliant Black. It seems to be a very nice black ink that dries fairly quickly. It's considered a dry ink. And even though it actually on the paper dries slower than some of my other inks, I'm not having the feathering issues, at least so far. I've tested it out on a couple of spreads, and so far I haven't had any bleed through and I haven't had any feathering. Now, is that a product of those particular pages? I don't know. But that's my recommendation. Just know that with the inconsistencies of the paper, it's really hard to tell. But this ink is, so I did buy it off of Amazon, and I know right now that's a little bit of a thing. I'm sure you can get it at other retailers. I just wanted it to get here quickly so that I could do a pen test. And this whole bottle ran me $7. So it's a fairly cheap solution. And it is, how big is the bottle? Hold on. So it's a 30 milliliter bottle. It's a nice little bottle, actually. I like that, and I'm going to keep it. So, and it is a German ink, if that makes any difference to you. So as far as fountain pens, those are my recommendations. If your fountain pens aren't working for you, buying another product just to try and make it work in here isn't the thing for you. Let me go over some other writing utensil recommendations. The first is, this is actually the pen that came with one of my Hobonichis, and this is a Uni Jetstream. Now, their ink is a little bit different than other pen inks. It is actually an oil-based ink, is what I was reading, and It seems to work the best out of any pen that I've tried. I don't know how much of that is the fine point. I don't know how much of that is the ink, but these are working great. And you can, like, even though this is the one that Hobonichi sent me, I think it was last year, you can buy them. Like this one is my Uni 4-in-1. It was more expensive, but I have another one on the way that was only $10, which I think is a good investment for what, for writing in here. And this one in particular, the reason I got it was not only does it have the 4 ink colors, so we have red, green, blue, and black, but this one also has a pencil. And one way to completely avoid all of the issues is simply to switch to a pencil. Now, do I love writing with a pencil? No, I prefer a fountain pen or a pen in general. But that being said, like, I am just not going to have any issues if I write with a pencil. So getting a nice mechanical pencil may fit that need for you. And this one, because it's combined with all of the other inks that are working on this paper, seems like a really good investment. I want to say this was around like $25 or $30, which is expensive for, just a universal pen. But maybe it's a good investment, especially if you're using lots of different colors for color coding in your planner. Now, switching away from the Jetstream, there are some other things that I can tell you as far as, pens that work on this paper. The first is a fine point is going to be key. So my Energel 0.7 bleeds through like crazy on this paper, and I don't use it. I use it on stickers, or if I forget, I sometimes use it on the paper. But I also have this one. Now, there is some difference in ink. This is a blue and this is a black. So I don't know how much of a difference that is making. But this is also a 0.3. The 0.3 pen is just performing so much better. So I think a fine point is key as well. Now, going with that, I have another pen that has performed really well, and I think it's in part because it's such a fine point. Now, this is a Pilot. I think it's called Emily, however you say that. My husband brought these back from Japan for me. It's ILMILY, and I've seen these at Jet Pens. They come in a bunch of different colors, and the nice thing about these is here, I'll just show you. So it goes down one color, and because they're a friction pen, you can go over it and have it go the other color. So if you're checking things off like a list, they're really nice because you can just use that friction to mark them off. And like I said, these come in a bunch of different colors. I have some of the colors. So this one I think is navy and gray. They also have what's this one? Emerald and mint. And there's a pink one. Hold on, let me pull it over for you guys. So this one is navy and sakura, like after the flower. I think that's how you say it. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. And I know there's other colors as well. So know that that is another good investment. So as far as Tombows go, you want to look for the water-based ones, not the alcohol ones. The alcohol ones are going to bleed through no matter what. But as far as the water-based ones, well, lighter colors seem to be doing okay. Some of the darker colors I can't really use there, but if I want to incorporate them, what I'm doing is I'm actually using them to stamp, because I ran into this issue where all the stamp inks that I had aren't working on this paper. I know there's some chalk inks people have said have worked for them. So far, I haven't had success with that. It could be a me issue because I'm not a huge stamper. But what I have found is using my Tombows to color in my stamps has actually worked pretty well for me. You can experiment with other, pens that you have, but that seems to work fairly consistently for me for not bleeding through. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of, feathering or anything of that nature. And it's a good way to incorporate more colors and use your Tombows that you already have. So, and it crosses over into that stamping and allows you to use those stamps that you may have problems with so that you can utilize all of your products. The next tip I have for you is probably my number one thing that I use. And I know you're going to be shocked if you see my channel, but it's stickers. So using stickers seems to be the easiest workaround. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive and it does bulk up the planner, but these planners are meant to work for you in different situations. So with this, what you're doing, these are Mandy Lynn plan stickers. That's a company that I PR for and I adore her. So she will be linked down below and my discount code is just10 in case you want to use that. But really any sticker is going to work for you. I happen to like these ones because they're so universal. If you're concerned about bulk, using a transparent or a washi sticker does work really well. So I'm just going to pull over some stickers to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. This is my leftover sticker book, so we're going to pull a few in from here. But you can use these, instead of dot markers, you can get these dots, which work amazing over here. Actually, let's put it over here on the side to put your bullet points in. And you can get a whole sheet of these for just a couple of dollars at Mandy Lynn. She has both transparent and the papery type, and they're on a removable paper, so at least the paper, like the matte paper ones, so you can move them around without any issue of tearing or anything like that with the paper. You can also use them like these are 7x9 stickers, so I'll usually cut these down just a little bit if I'm going to reuse them. But if you're writing on the sticker itself, now I don't do this with my fountain pens because I found that the paper isn't usually good for those fountain pens, but I can bring in my Energel Clina that's been bleeding through on everything else and say, write on here with this. And there's no issue of feathering or bleed through, and I don't have to worry about it. And that's just an easy workaround. I know it's not going to work for everybody, but just having that in your arsenal, especially when you hit some of those bad pages or bad sections that you may not realize when you're first starting your layout. So like on this spread, when I started to get some of the feathering, the really bad spots, I'm able to put stickers over and completely cover them up. So I don't have to look at it. And then I can put other stickers in here to put in the things that I want. Yes, I'm still using my fountain pen on this one. This was actually using my Pilot penmanship, which is a really fine point and a $10 pen. That is the pen I'm having the most problems with right now. But you can do a lot with stickers in here. It's universal. You can be really creative. And if you're worried about the bulk, let me show you last year's planner. All right, here is last year's planner. You can see it's pretty bulky. And what a lot of people will worry about is whether or not they can still use it when you're getting towards the end of the year and stuff. The nice thing about all of these type of planners is they're actually meant so that you can make that flat surface, because they're bound in like these little booklets and they're stitch bound. So you can come to, like, say, let me move this one out of the way so you can really see. So you're going to use this page, but you're having issues with this one being further down or whatever. What you can do is you actually fold it over on itself like this to get a flat surface. And that's not going to hurt the binding or anything. That is what they're meant to do. So keep that in mind if you're worried about having that much bulk. And like I said, you can also get washi stickers. Sterling Ink definitely has a bunch of decorative washi stickers. Sadie Stickers is now coming out with washi stickers. Mandy Lynn Plans is experimenting with some, but they're not mainstream yet. There's a lot of other places where you can use that type of thing. Now, washi stickers are harder to write on, so I would probably recommend them more for a decorative element. All right, to go with stickers, I actually have some more budget-friendly like hacks for that. So if you don't want to buy stickers, maybe you don't like the look of them or something, what you can do is you can actually get Scotch tape. I prefer the more matte version, and here's what you can do. So say you just want to be able to write on here, you know it's a bad page. We're going to zoom in for this. And you're just going to put a piece of tape over the area you want to write on. And instead of writing on the paper, we're now writing on that tape. You need a permanent ink pen. So this is a Pilot one, and I think Sweetwise Design uses these. They're really nice. They have a nice point on them and work really well. You can also get a microperm. Just make sure you get the gray version. The brown ones are not permanent ink and will just smear. So these work really well. You can also use a Sharpie. But in this case, you're just going to write on here, I don't know, well, let's say appointment with doctor. And now you can have that really dark ink that maybe you want in a bolder font. Just, you're not writing on the paper directly. I don't know if I would use a ton of this because that would make the whole page almost a sheet of tape. But for specific things, especially for headers and things like that, this will work great. Now, going off of that, your next option is probably to use a sticky note. They come in lots of different sizes. These are actually transparent ones. So I got these off of AliExpress. I don't know if that's going to be an option moving forward, but you can get them from, you know, other retailers and such. This just happened to have a nice 4-pack that had different sizing. Now, this sizing, I think, is a little bit bigger than the column, but that's the one I'm going to use as our example here. So these come in pretty much every color you can imagine. So if you're color coding things and that type of thing, you can use these, and they're also removable and you can move them from day to day. So say you have your morning routine. We're just going to put morning routine, and you're writing directly on the sticky note opposed to the paper. So you're still getting the grid and the look of the paper. I don't know if you can get these in other colors. It would be amazing if you can. But then you can put down here, I don't know, like shower, meds, gym, just as an example. And then, and yes, I'm not using my best writing. You can then move this to each day and not have to rewrite it, which is kind of nice. So that's one way of using these. You can also use them, obviously, for any other area. You can get them smaller. You can get little square ones, you know, and you can have them in all the different sizes, and they're going to work great. These ones I think are going to work great for like headers, or if I have somebody in town, I don't know, for a certain amount of time. Oh, that's my hair. Sorry. So like visiting and things like that. And they, oh, sorry. And then you have the ability to leave them. They'll stay fine, but you also have the ability to remove them if you want to. Now, going with this theme, you don't have to use the transparent ones. There are a lot of really beautiful sticky notes out there. Zoom out a little bit. That you're able to use. So let me show you some examples of that. So this is just a decorative sticky note that I got from Mandy Lynn Plans. So instead of writing on my paper, maybe I'm going to work on this. It's about the size of, I would say, a double box spread. So I could doodle in here. I can write a message. Actually, hold on. Let's do this. Coming to town. And this is going to be a horrible drawing. I'm sorry, guys. But I'm just quick trying to show you. So you can use your Tombows on them. They're not going to bleed through, so you're safe in that aspect. You can use any pen. There are ones of these that are fountain pen friendly, like these ones, which are from Eric's Small Things. So if you do want to write on here, you can with your other inks. I was just playing around with this. What do I have inked up? This one, which I just did a review on. So we can do vacation, time, and then I can go ahead and either I can cut it out in a smaller spot or whatever, but that way I can incorporate some of those fountain pens. Oh, actually, that one's feathering. These are supposed to work with fountain pens. Maybe it's the ink in here. But anyhow, you get the idea. And then our next, kind of in that whole realm of stickers, we also have washi tape. So these are washi tapes that I have from Moxie Life. And we'll just take one as an example here. So these are about the width of a single square on here. So you can use these as, you know, if you're color coding or anything. I would recommend writing on them with a permanent pen. So I don't know, go to work. I think I picked a bad color example here for you guys. Let me pick a different one. So you can actually see me writing on it, right? I'll say come home on this one. So it gives you that pop of color and it's not adding a lot of bulk. These are great. I love the really tiny ones, but you can use any washi for that color variation, for tags, to, you know, if you used, say, a mild liner or something in the past to do your time blocking, you can use these instead. So you can say, I don't know, we'll take this one as an example. So my kids will be at, this is hypothetical, at school that time frame. So where I might have in the past put, you know, a line here to indicate that, instead now maybe I use the washi tape and let's just pull over a mechanical pencil and say kids at school. Now it's not the same effect, but you're still getting, you know, most of your effect, if that makes sense. So know that those are options for you, and I think these are going to work great. My last little tip for you is, say you come to a page and it's absolutely atrocious and everything you put on it is just bleeding through. It's not working right. The easiest go around, I think, is going to be taking old pages from like old planners. So in my old Hobonichi, which I love, I do have pages in here that I didn't use. So instead of these pages just going to waste, I could cut these out and tip them in and use them. I'll have to relabel, but it is a workaround. You can also cut smaller pieces out if this paper is working, in order to kind of layer it on there and have paper that is working. Or if you have a page where you had a lot of bleed through from the previous page, it might be a way to work around that. I don't know if I would do a ton of this, but it is an option. Now, I know that these are not all of the tips and tricks out there. I'm sure you guys have came up with some amazing ones on your own. If you did, go ahead and put them down in the comments so we can all kind of benefit from that and see what we can come up to make these planners work better for us this year. Hopefully by next year, we'll have better paper, but just in case, I know a lot of planner companies are looking into that, but there's no guarantees with anything. So let me know what you guys are doing with this paper. Have you given up on it? Are you trying your best to work with it? Because these are expensive planners. They just are. And if you are looking to replace these planners with something different, I do have some that just arrived. It will take me a couple of weeks to just get through them and trying them out and get those videos out. But know that I have alternates on the pipeline to show you guys. So that's all I have for today. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button over there. And until next time, I'll see you real soon.